All right. Potential shift here, guys. Seeing if it is possible to make a living day trading. We are up 5 points in SPY, 5.5 points already. It is only 10 a.m. If we look at the chart here, let's see. We've got a straight up move to start the day. So I have to be honest with you. I have been sitting out this week. I am having my bathroom remodeled with all of my trading winnings, my all of that money I make trading. Yeah, right. Anyway, yeah, getting the bathroom remodeled. So, look, I have a simple rule when it comes to trading. If you cannot concentrate on it the way you would be able to concentrate on a very intense chess game against an equally matched opponent, you should not be trading. And with contractors coming in and out of my house, I can't concentrate on trading the way I need to. Plus all the dealings with them, picking out the tiles, this, that, the next thing. It's too much. So I've been sitting this week out dealing with the bathroom remodel. But this morning I'm logging on because we are up 6 points in half an hour. So I want to take a look at it because maybe there's some opportunities here. And number two, I also wanted to tell you guys before I go the whole week disappearing, I wanted to tell you guys that there is a reason I'm gone. I got stuff to take care of. And again, if I can't give my full attention to trading, I don't want to be trading because I know I will lose. That is honestly my number one rule at this point when it comes to trading. I call it the chess rule. If you cannot focus on your trading the same way you would be able to focus on a very intense chess game, you should not be trading. So that's where we're at right now. I also got a terrible haircut. That may be another reason why I haven't logged on. I'm not going to show you that right now. I will later. Something to look forward to. So what do I think about what's going on right now? We are at all-time highs, right? 778, that's an all-time high. SPY certainly looks like it. Is this going to be one of those days where we just go straight up the whole friggin' day? Because it definitely looks like that's what's happening right now. In fact, I'm going to buy right off the bat. Haven't been trading all week. I'm going to get long immediately. Probably a mistake. +1 MES. Why? Because we've broken above 778. 778, if you look at the chart here, looks like it's a bit of a level. We did see it present a floor. So let's see if 778 wants to hold. If it doesn't want to hold, it's only going to cost me about 20, 30 bucks, something like that. Yeah, so if 778 doesn't hold, it doesn't cost me too much. And on the upside, maybe this is a day where we've actually got a strong directional upward bias. I can tell you just by glancing at the chart at first glance, it does look like we have a strong directional bias here. Yeah, it just does. In fact, I'm going to grab another one. I'm going to go +2 here because I've got a nice close out. We dip below 778. I can get out cheap. Instead of costing me 20 or 30 bucks, it'll cost me 40 or 60 bucks. So really 50 bucks. That's not a huge price to pay for a morning that looks like it has a good bias. And I mean, if we keep going higher, we should at least be able to get to 780, right? Is it a smart play? I don't know. Honestly, I'm jumping back in. I haven't traded since Friday. So did I even trade on Friday? Or was I handling plumbing stuff that day also? Anyway, I haven't traded in about a week. And I've said it before, trading is not like riding a bicycle. It does take a little bit to warm up to it, to get acclimated to it, to get a feel for the market, the patterns, just to have a sense of being in the swimming pool again, okay? You jump back into trading, it's a bit like jumping back into cold water. You got to get used to it a little bit. So, maybe I should scale back down to one contract because maybe I'm getting hasty here. And maybe I'm feeling a little bit of FOMO after not trading this week. And now I see a nice big fat move. And I'm like, let me catch this move. Is there any indication? I don't even know what this up move is about. I mean, I read something about PPI. Is that right? Or was it PPC? PCP? Is that what's moving the market right now? PCP? Nope, it's PPI. Okay. Dow and NASDAQ also rise after tame PPI data. Okay, let's do our 5 things to know. It's the NBC. I am not just a little bit lost today. I'm a lot lost today. But you know what? Honestly, considering I'm a day trader, I basically trade the charts. Being a little lost in terms of what's going on in the news isn't the end of the world for me. In fact, sometimes it can be an advantage. You know, if I'm going to make some shitty read based on catalysts and news stories that don't mean anything. Okay, number 1 story. While the headline reading of yesterday's consumer price ticked modestly higher, the pace of annual growth cooled slightly. This was seen. Here's what to know. Energy prices continued to feel upward momentum. No surprise there. This no. Trump media outlet going to court. Follow the money. Elizabeth Warren and her investments. Turnover. Okay. So not much to know other than the PPI data, which, I mean, was it a complete shock? Let me see. How much of a shock was the PPI data? We're getting some Fed speak. I will say that there's some board members talking. U.S. PPI goods. U.S. PPI fell 0.9 month over month, 0.1 year over year. What were expectations? That doesn't mean much without expectations. U.S. PPI good. Where's the headline numbers? Come on. There's like U.S. PPI 0.0 month over month plus 0.2 expected. U.S. PPI ex food and energy plus 0.2, 0.3 expected. Okay, so the usual, it was basically 1/10 of 1% lower than expected. All right, so very, very slightly cool. All right, nothing to write home about, that's for sure. Do I seriously have an insurance company calling me right now? Hello?
Hi, good morning. This is Laura from Allstate Insurance.
Oh, I'm in the middle of work. I'm sorry, I can't talk right now. Thank you. Bye-bye. By the way, that is an insurance company calling me to sell me products. I called them by mistake yesterday, trying to call my regular insurance company about the bathroom remodel. Complete accident. Dialed their number by mistake. Literally within 30 seconds of hanging up, I have had nonstop phone calls from salesmen from that wrong number that I called, trying to sell me car insurance. Like, dude, I dialed the wrong number. Please leave me the F alone. Ugh. Anyway, so I'm long 2 contracts right now, MES. Like I said, I've been out of touch all week. Throw my disclaimer out there. Do not follow my trades. I'm not a profitable trader. Don't follow my trades unless you want to be an unprofitable trader like me. So, yeah, that's the disclaimer. Why am I in this right now? Because this is a very convincing up move to me after a week the first 3 days of this week, we've seen nothing but indecisive action, I would say. You got a bit of a down move on Tuesday, I think. Yeah, I mean, there was a bit of a down move on Tuesday. A slow, sort of grinding move lower on Tuesday. So you had some directional movement on Tuesday. Not enough to really make a huge score on, that's for sure. I mean, let's see. On Tuesday, it's up here. We went from opening at 774 to closing at 770.5. Right? So 3 or 4 points on Tuesday, but it took all day to do that on Tuesday. So it was a directional move, but it was slow. It had bounces, and in the end, it wasn't a huge move. It was 3 or 4 points. So more important than any of that, though, is the fact to me that is the 6-month chart. If you look at the 6-month chart, we've got this flag that broke before earnings. Then during earnings season, we went down, which was surprising to me. Earnings season, usually we move higher. And that made me particularly bearish when we moved down during earnings season. And then right after earnings season, as it begins to wrap up, we get this mega bounce, which was really unexplainable to me. Usually you don't get a huge bounce like this. I mean, this was a 40-point bounce almost, something like that, give or take, in like 4 days. And it came out of nowhere on the back of nothing, really. And that made me even more bearish because it was like, what the heck? Why did we just get a 40-point bounce? It makes no sense. Then we milled around for a few days, and I thought maybe we were going to break lower, But the break lower never came. And now we're moving higher today. And I can tell you the thesis here for me is a contradictory one. And that is a fair thesis. My thesis is that up move previously, this after earnings up move made very little sense to me. We should have gotten a pullback. The fact that we didn't made very little sense to me. Now, today, we're busting higher with momentum. Again, I don't see where it's coming from. PPI data that is 0.1% cooler does not explain a jump off the bell like this. So what I'm seeing is bullishness that is unexplained, okay? That is the thesis in a nutshell. Now, some people may be uncomfortable with that, but I find that to be one of the better opportunities to make plays when you cannot explain why you are seeing very strong bullish or bearish moves. And make no mistake, this has been a very strong bullish move. And I don't see where it's coming from. And now we're seeing it again this morning, kick in again. No catalyst for it. So what you're seeing is a lot of bullish action here that I cannot explain. And that, like I said, sometimes is the strongest kind of move. The one you don't know where the hell it's coming from. Because that means it's the whales and the smart money that are doing it. Perhaps with non-public information, They are driving this move higher, and it doesn't make a lot of sense. And that can be a very, very good signal to go, right? That means smart money is buying, and us, the general public, we do not know why. Let's just ride their coattails, all right? I find that to be a very strong play most of the time. In fact, I find it to be stronger than plays where you do have a thesis. It's almost better to not have a thesis because now I'm just riding what I see as the smart money. That can be a very, very good thesis. And so that's what I'm going with right now. We got We've had some really strong bullish action the last week or two, unexplained to me. This week, Monday through Wednesday, we've had wishy-washy action. Fine. I'm not sorry that I missed it. And now today I'm waking up. This is a good day to come back on, say hello, because we're getting some really bullish momentum. It looks like there is a bullish bias here. Again, no real reason, no real thesis. PPI does not explain it. So it looks to me like there's just smart money buying here right now. And when you get smart money buying like that, it can turn into big, big moves. Like we saw last week, that 4-day up move. It sort of looks like it's continuing. Again, disclaimer, this is the stock market. Anything can happen. We don't know. This is a thesis based on me not knowing, right? I don't know what's going on. I just know that this chart is roaring higher and I can't tell why. And that makes me interested in it. So that's it. That's my thesis. That's why I'm long here. Some people, like I said, might take issue with it. Might say that's not even a real thesis. I think it is a real thesis. I do. The thesis is the smart money is buying. Dudes like us, retail traders, we don't know why, but the charts are telling us smart money is buying. So go with it. Fuck it. Don't fight it. Until the market gives you a signal to start fighting it. Go with it. That's where I'm at right now. And maybe I'm a little over anxious after not trading for a week or so. I hope not. But I like my thesis here. I do. Okay, we hit 779 on SPY. That could be a top. I mean, it might be. I don't think it is, though. I don't think it is. Could be. Could be a top. I don't think it is, though. I do have the contractors here distracting me a little bit. Not exactly happy about that. All right, I'm giving you guys my thesis. I should put my stop in. Where do I want to put my stop in? It's 11:30. I mean, it's 10:30. I'm up $50. $50 really isn't all that impressive considering I think we could have like a major rip higher here today. What I'd really like to do is use a trailing stop here. My losing exit would be a lower low. So we break below a previous low, which would be here. I mean, that would be the obvious lower low right here. That would be the obvious lower low. I should probably set... Yeah. Yeah. All right. So I'm setting my exit a little bit below there. We're still at 779, 779.2 right now. I will sell one of them at 836.1, 841.5, 841. I will sell one of them at 780. I'm long 2 contracts. I'll sell one of them at 780 just to take a little profit. And I'll get back in if we keep moving higher. But what do I think about this play? Is it sloppy? Got the contractors banging away. I'm really banking on like a serious move higher. And maybe that's a little optimistic. I mean, if we have any sort of pullback here, I'm basically going to lose this play and be down $77, $80. Not a huge fan of those odds because we've been making quite an up move here. It's not unreasonable to expect a pullback. I mean, if this is a normal day, expecting a pullback is perfectly natural here. But that's not the play right now. The play is, are we going to have a momentum day higher? That's the play. I mean, that's what I'm playing right now. That's why I logged in, basically, because I saw what was happening this morning. I thought this might be a day to make a real profit, like a real bias higher today. So that's the play. I got to kind of stick with that. If it turns into a normal sort of, we go higher and then we have a pullback, a big pullback, then we go higher and another big pullback. If it turns into one of those days, I'm going to end up losing on this play. But the thesis is we've broken out higher again. It looks like there's bullish momentum here. Let's try and ride the bullish momentum higher and try to make some real money here today. Not putz around and pick up pennies here and there. All right. 779, where we're going to top out. Come on. I'll tell you one thing. If we break higher, down here will become a really nice floor, a really nice exit. Rather than to down here, this is a much more attractive exit for me. Yeah, I'd love 779 to be my exit rather than 778. Come on, go higher. All right, I told you guys I would show you the haircut. Look, my hair is unruly and weird. I don't have many options with it, so I have like two choices with it. Super short or super long. Anything in the middle is like garbage. So I tend to oscillate between the two. I let it grow super long until it looks like I'm a hobo. Then I cut it super short. Then let it grow out again, repeat over and over again. It's what works for me. Honestly, trying to get a haircut where I tell them, keep it, try to keep it long. It never turns out right. It just fucking looks weird. So, yeah, we go from growing it very long to back to short, back to long, short, long. So we're in a short phase now. It's kind of like the market, huh? Sometimes you're short, sometimes you're long, sometimes you're short. Anyway, what I want to see here, look, I've set a sell for one of my contracts. I'm long two of them. I've set a sell for one of them up at 779.8, basically. I'd love to hit that. It would reduce my risk, and I could move my losing exit up to here at the bottom of this 779. I'd really like that. I really wish these contractors weren't here because I don't know if you guys can hear it, but they're like banging, and the hammering is actually quite distracting, to tell you the truth, because I have to think about what my losing exits are here. I mean, if I'm trying to ride a momentum play higher and we start moving down to, say, here, this level, well, maybe the momentum's gone, right? And I should start thinking about exiting the play. I mean, I would still be positive on it, you know. I'd still, it would be a winning play as opposed to my exit, which is down here right now, which is going to cost me $70. I mean, if it's a momentum play and we're going to just kind of march higher, I want to see a march higher. Although even on the days when we march higher, there's always sort of at least one or two pullbacks that test your nerves. And maybe one is incoming right now. I do feel like one is incoming right now. In fact, I'm going to set the sell stop right here. Okay. All right. I just exited one. I'll get back in on it. I want to get back in on it. It's just I don't want to ride it if this is going to be like a test my nerve kind of moment. But if we go right back into the good range, I'll just get back in on it. It's going to cost me a little bit to do that kind of move, but Overthinking my trading, maybe. Overthinking leads to overtrading. All right, how am I starting to feel about the momentum here? Are we running out of it? I don't know. Impossible to say. Honestly, my gut says no at this point. My gut says that this slowdown and down move, as of right now, does not scare me yet. I did lighten up. So, I mean, it scared me enough to make me bail on one contract. But with the full intention of getting back in. All right, it spooked me a little. I'll admit it. But you know what? I am keeping a core of one contract long. You know, there's also another possibility which I hadn't even thought about, and that other possibility is that this up move right here this morning is a top. I hadn't even thought about that. Like a fake you out top before a rip roaring sell off today. That had not even entered my mind, but that is possible. That is not beyond the realm of comprehension here. I mean, like I said, we've seen big bullish up moves I can't explain, which makes me bullish. You got a big up move this morning on basically nothing. Could this be the here is a really bullish rip higher? Rope people in. And now it's time to drop the hammer on them and finally start selling off. I mean, that doesn't seem beyond the realm of possibility to me, to tell you the truth. But look, I've got my out set down here. If this losing out gets hit, I'll basically be even for the day, which is fair. That's fair game. I don't even know what that order is. You know, either way, I would like that. Either we've got a strong bullish bias today, which is going to keep continuing, which I can ride higher with a trailing stop, or maybe this up move was a capitulation top. Does it look like a capitulation top? Let's look at the weekly chart. Again, volume data, I don't really trust, but it's better than nothing. So, eh. No, I wouldn't exactly say it looks like a capitulation top. I wouldn't rule it out as one. I wouldn't say there's zero chance it's a capitulation top. It's got a little bit of a feel to it as a momentum kind of top. A little bit. Just not to the point where I would say, whoa, look at that top. Two opposing ideas, two very opposite end of the spectrum theses. Theses. Sounds like feces, doesn't it? One is we've got some bullish, real bullish action incoming today. The other is this was a capitulation top before maybe perhaps a serious down move today. Let's see what happens. I'm happy that I lightened up a little bit up here, only down to one contract. We're approaching 778, which has a nice round number. Should be a... Boy, they're really banging. Can you guys hear that? That banging is distracting. It's definitely taking me off of my best chess game. Okay. I will flip short if it starts looking like we're really rocking and rolling lower. All right, so we hit the 778. Floor, if that is a floor. I could rebuy here. Move my sell stop right up to here. Move the other sell stop down to here. And then move another sell stop just a little bit below that. So I'm sort of lining up. I'm +2 right now. +2 MES, but I'm lining up. +2 MES on the hope that my original thesis is correct. Nope, okay. First. Well, that's a shitty exit. All right, this is starting to look uglier. Maybe that was a capitulation top. And I am now preparing. I'm flat. Down $48. Okay, whatever. All right. I'm starting to sort of warm up to the idea. I haven't given up on the idea that we're going to just march higher today. It's possible. But I am definitely starting to warm up to the idea of this up move sort of being a fake out up move, rope in bulls, as it did with me, before a down move today. I don't know. Could go either way. But my thesis of this being a bullish momentum day definitely looks like it's in tatters right now. I will say that much. That's okay. Sometimes you got to pay a little bit to learn how the market feels. Although I will say, if we bounce right here and like just rip higher for the rest of the day, I'm going to be pretty fucking upset. That would definitely bother me. I don't think that's going to happen. This down move does look like it destroyed my bullish thesis, although we could just be in for a BOF day, a buy order flow day, where we just sort of grind higher with lots of pullbacks. Although I will say the chart action this morning does not indicate that. There was no morning V. This was a pretty strong sustained up move all the way to 10:30. That's late in the day for a sustained directional movement. It makes me think that there's two possibilities. Either there is very real sustained bullish momentum here, or this was a capitulation up move that's going to be followed by a strong down move. Is that wishful thinking? Because those happen to be the two scenarios where I would make money? Definitely could be. Always want to watch out for that. The difference between what you're actually seeing and what your brain wants to see. I would definitely like to see a sustained up move or a sustained down move, one or the other. What I would not want to see is a choppy market or a directional move that has a lot of pullbacks that's going to be very difficult to trade. So maybe I'm reaching here. At least I'm aware of it. I am flat right now. I've got a sell order in. If we break a little bit lower, and at the very least, if you're just tuning in, if you've missed me all week, all two or three of you actually watch this. Again, I'm having my bathroom remodeled. I don't know. If you've ever done something like that, it's not fun. That has absorbed all of my attention this week. There's no point in being half focused on the market when I have to deal with that. Yeah, that's where I've been at. Approaching 11 a.m. 11 a.m. can be the witching hour in terms of reversals, where the market sort of tips its hand and am I willing to bank on this being on this up move this morning being a top? Would that make sense looking at a 6-month chart? Anything can happen in markets. I mean, we had a huge up move. I've been waiting for a pullback from that up move. It never came. An up move that never really made a ton of sense to me. This morning I got long thinking, wow, we're taking off this morning. Whatever bullish factor has been out there, whatever bullishness, I don't see where it's coming from, but I'm just going to go with it. I don't know yet. Hold on, I got to deal with the contractors real quick. $2 for you guys for lunch. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, no problem. Yeah. So I gave Henry some money for you guys just for lunch. Oh, no problem. All right. You guys do what you gotta do. Yeah. Okay, shit. All right, shit. Just dealing with the contractors. Fuck. All right, do I want to get back in long here? Don't have much time to decide. Not yet. Close. Not yet. Got my finger on the button to get long. We just want to go a little higher. Just want to go a little higher. All right, that's good enough. All right. Got back in long on one. Again, I'm not sure where we're at right now. I should just wait for the afternoon. I really should. I have such a better idea of what's going on once we're in the afternoon. Okay, this is just going to be a little fake out move. That's what's going on here. Seriously, I had to hit the button at the exact. Yep. Okay. Hit the exact button at the exact fucking moment. Okay. Yep. Just waited a few more cents. I would have seen we're going back down. Whatever. What I'm looking for here is directional bias. I want bias. Are we moving higher or lower with authority? That's what you need to make money. And the market hasn't decided yet. I do think if we break lower here, it might turn into something ugly. Might turn into something ugly today. And I have a guess that if it's going to turn into something ugly today, it'll probably happen during lunchtime, to tell you the truth. I don't know why. My gut just says it'll happen during lunch, which is 12 to 1. All right, my finger's on the button short now. Maybe I'm over anxious after being away for a few days. seeing this up move in the morning convinced me something was there that might not be there. It was a nice up move. I mean, it was a 5-point up move in half an hour, well, 1 hour. It's a pretty big move. It's a pretty big move to see off of the opening bell without a pullback. That's a real move off the opening bell without a pullback. I mean, I thought it meant something. I don't know what, bullish or bearish, but I thought it meant something. I mean, my first read was bullish, but now I'm leaning more towards there was a bull trap before a bear move lower. Now we're in a wishy-washy, I don't know exactly what the fuck it meant zone. Hmm. All right, good enough for me to get short here. Now we're at 777. Is 777 going to hit a wall, or are we going to break right through it? If we break right through 777, I'm going to consider that a very good sign. But it is very likely we just hit the wall here at 777 and stop. I can tell you one thing. If we bounce back to this exit up here, I'm going to wash my hands of it. That'll just tell me that we're Number one, that my trading after taking a few days off might be impaired in some way. Get my stress style out. He might be telling me, hey, knock it off, dude. You've been away for a while. You're not trading correctly. Definite possibility. The other thing it'll tell me if we bounce back up to here is that we had this nice up move, but whatever it meant, the momentum of it is gone, and that maybe there was going to be downside momentum, but even if there is, it's not appearing cleanly. In other words, there isn't a clean directional bias here, all right? Right now, I've flipped over to the hunting for a clean downside bias, hoping that this up move was a bull trap and that now we want to move lower after roping in the bulls this morning. But like I said, if we hit this losing out up here, I'll just have no opinion on it. It'll be all right. We had a 5-point up move off the bell, and now we're settling into choppy shit. Look for a peg, as in most days, right? 4 out of 5 days a week, you're just going to have a center of gravity, a peg where the market wants to sort of rotate around, and it's going to chop around that point. Right now, it looks like 778, right? Might be 778. Maybe we're just going to chop around 778 all day. Those aren't the best days to make money, but if you are going to try and make money on them, it requires immense patience and waiting until you fully establish where the peg is, where the liquidity center is, waiting for the market to diverge from that liquidity center and then fading the move away from it. That's how you make money on peg days, and most days are peg days. And they're not big payoff days. They're just trying to sort of scrape out a little bit of money. So yeah, if we hit this losing out, I'm going to figure we're just in a peg day, probably with 778 as a center. I'll play accordingly, which is patience, waiting for us to move away from 778 so that I can play it the other way, and I'll try and eke out my $100 or $200. That's the way to do it on peg days. You can't do anything else. And I will have to relinquish the idea of today being an actual movement day. I mean, it's just so hard because you always want it to be that actual movement day, that real directional bias day. And again, it's such a fine line between wishful thinking and actually logically seeing that pattern. I will say this morning gave us hints of it with a 5-point up move right off the bell. Very little pullback. I mean, this was a good hint that we might have a real directional day brewing. But just because we have a hint of it doesn't mean it's actually happening. And my assessment of the day is quickly readjusting to the idea that it might just be a peg day. Unfortunately. There's really only three types of days. There's the big directional days. We all know those, right? Where the market just keeps going in one direction, usually catalyst driven, sometimes not. But for whatever reason, the market just wants to go in one direction and go that way all day. Those are the big money makers, by far the rarest days. Lucky if you get one of them a week. Honestly, lucky if you get two of them a month. Those are the big days, the big money makers. Peg day. Peg day is by far, I would say, well, peg day and drift day are the two other ones. Peg day is where there is a center of gravity, a liquidity node, whatever you want to call it, a place where the market keeps coming back to throughout the day. You know, throughout the day, it'll go above this center of gravity, then below it, then back above it. Then it'll always sort of stop and hang out at the center of gravity because that's where all the liquidity is. But it's hard to identify exactly where it is in the morning. By the afternoon, by 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, you can usually clearly see where that center of gravity is. And then there's an opportunity to make money on that. Because if the market strays too far from the center of gravity, you can count on it coming back, right, at the end of the day. So that's a peg day. And then there's drift days. Drift days are like Tuesday. These are BOF days where the market drifts in one direction, either higher or lower, right? But not with any urgency. It'll drift there on algo moves, right? Algos and institutions are driving the drift. So it's not going to be clean. It's not going to be fast. It's not going to be a good opportunity for traders because there's not going to be a lot of emotion behind it. There'll be almost no emotion behind it. It'll just be the institutions either accumulating or distributing that day. So you'll drift one direction, big, drift higher, big pullback, drift higher, big pullback, drift higher. And at the end of the day, you're up 3 to 5 points or the opposite. I mean, I find drift lower days to be much more rare, honestly, but drift lower days do happen. For example, on Tuesday, we had a drift lower day and you drift lower, you get a pullback, down, pullback, down. And when I say pullback, I mean pull up. Down, and by the end of the day, you're 3 to 5 points lower. But it's very hard to trade because you get strong pullbacks during all of this. So, those are the three basic days if I had to break them down. The best day by far and the rarest, strong directional movement, human emotion-driven day, panic selling, the opposite of that is, I don't know if you'd call it panic buying, but just frenzied buying. Those days happen. Great days to make money. Peg days. Peg days are tough. A lot of chop. Center of gravity. You're chopping around it all day. Best thing you can do, wait it out all morning, honestly. Probably until you really feel strongly that you've identified where the peg is. Then at the end of the day, if we drift too far from the peg, you can try to make a little money at the end of the day if we stray too far from the peg and make a play that we're going to pull back towards it. You can make a little money at the end of the day there. Drift days might even be the hardest days of all, because you don't really have a peg exactly, or you have a peg that's moving. you know, and it's easy to confuse it with a peg day, but we're actually slowly moving higher, slowly moving lower. Very hard to trade because you have to commit to it. You have to say, you know what, I know we're going to drift higher all day. And how do you do that? I don't know. I know we're going to drift lower all day. I don't know how you commit to that without thinking, well, this might be a peg day, you know. But if you did feel certain that it was an accumulation or a distribution day, I mean, the play would be just to get long on a pullback or get short on a peak, and then just ride it the whole day, ride it all the way until either 4 p.m. or 3:50 p.m. Just ride the movement. You're gonna have to suck it up when there are pullbacks, and try and pick up whatever it is, your 3 points or whatever you want to do. Very, very difficult to do, but those would be the ways to play the 3 most sort of common days that you see. And there's always the added factor that, you know, these things aren't set in stone. Sometimes in the middle of the day, it'll switch from a directional day to a peg day, or from a peg day to a directional day, or from a drift day to you get what I mean. In the middle of the day, sometimes it can change. So that adds a whole other layer of complexity to it, which is why trading in the afternoon is so much easier. You have a much clearer idea of what's going on, more information. But like I said, I'm usually running my chores in the afternoon. I don't usually stream my afternoon trades. Sucks. If I wanted to stream my best trading, I would be streaming in the afternoon, not in the morning. The morning, I'm usually guessing, trying to figure out what the market's doing. It usually costs me, you know, down $60 today. That's about right. Usually costs me about $100 before I tend to make most of it back, if not a little more than that back in some last minute trades once I've finally identified what type of day it is and where the center is. But I usually don't end up showing that. Maybe one day I'll actually be able to show my better trading moments where I'm not guessing so much. All right, 11:23. We're hanging around at 777 SPY. Remember what I said. For some reason, I think if we're going to have a down move, for whatever reason, I think it's going to come during the lunch hour, which is paradoxical because usually the lunch hour, 12 to 1, is channel bound and low volatility. But something in my gut, something in my experience tells me that if we're going to see a large down move here, for whatever reason, it's going to come between 12 and 1. Don't ask me why. I don't know exactly how to explain that. That is definitely my feeling, though. If we're going to have a sell-off today, it's going to start in earnest during lunch hour. I don't know. I don't know why. Just experience. Just something about it, some pattern in the back of my mind tells me that I've seen this before, and when you're going to have a sell-off day, and that's a big if, it's going to come, it's going to pick up steam during lunch. You know, 12:20. I don't know. That's my feeling on it. As long as we don't hit this losing out up here, as long as we don't hit this losing out, I still feel okay being short here, one contract. And I'm ready to get more size if we really want to start falling out. this is a little aggressive. I've got a sell stop there for 2 contracts. All right, that was 2. I changed it to 1 at the last minute, so I'm only short 2. Didn't want to be short 3. It wasn't quite strong enough for that kind of move. I mean, easy, Tiger. Let me see a little momentum before I grab a third contract here. Yeah, easy, easy. Put a buy stop up there. So I'm short 2 contracts. I'm feeling pretty good about a pullback here now. This little dip here, is it a fake out? I don't know, but just feeling a little bit stronger about maybe we were actually moving lower, and we're moving lower slowly right now. Again, maybe during lunchtime it picks up. How do I feel about this? I mean, this wasn't quite the way I wanted to move lower. Oh, there we go. Okay. Now I grabbed a third. I was about to say that wasn't the way I wanted to move lower. I wanted to move lower on momentum and strength. And then we got a fast candle. All right, now I feel a little bit better about being short here. I lightened up 1 at 776 just in case that wants to be a bottom, although I don't think it is. But it could be. So take a little profit off the table there, just in case. This is where I get sloppy. We're going to see right now if this is just some like fake out candle lower. Very well could be. Just some little pump fake before we head back up to 778. 778 being the peg, if it is a peg day, or whether we really want to start dipping into the trouble zone. And if we're going to start moving lower, I got to fucking kind of commit to it. Only at -2 right now. You know what? I am going to get -3. Something about this chart is just telling me we're going lower. I can move my losing exits lower at this point. Because if we bounce back hard here, whatever momentum I'm surfing for here is not uh, materializing. But it looks like we're about to take another leg lower. Could be dead wrong. Again, disclaimer, I'm not a profitable trader. Don't follow my trades. I wish I had been following the trading a bit more closely this week. I know 773. Yeah, 773 has definitely been a limit, so we know that much. We know 773 has been a limit. And where did we open today? We opened today at 775. Uh, I'm short 3 here. I'm probably going to bounce in and out of one of them. Try and hold 2 of them as a core at least until 773. Use the other one as sort of a take profit. I don't know. Maybe just to make myself feel like I'm doing something. I don't know. Eight, 802, 6, 94.50. Yeah, okay. So 775, 774, 773 is my real target. Now, if I'm smart, I just hold all 3 contracts till 773 with a trailing stop. That is what an excellent trader would do here. But as we know, I am not an excellent trader. I am a experienced trader with many bad habits. It's a good description of me. A very experienced, very intelligent trader with a lot of bad habits. Yes, that would be a perfect description of me as a trader. So I set up a buy at 775 in case that wants to be a bottom because it is where we open the day. And then I set up a sell to get back in. I'm going to lose this whole chunk in here. That's a good 50 cents. If that is the way it plays out, which is wishful thinking, but you know, this is starting to look like a down move, that's for sure. One where my losing exits don't need to be quite so far away. We're at 776 right now. 777 is right here. You know what? I don't. We don't mind pullbacks, but we do mind stalls. Stalls are not good when you're on a momentum trade. This isn't exactly a stall. This is still downward momentum. Little pullback here. A stall would be coming back down to this weirdo level, whatever this is, and then kerplunking. Yeah, so I'll set a little buy limit right there in case we want to come back down to this level and freeze again. This bottomed out at 775.5. Could that be a bottom? Of course. Who the fuck knows? It's the stock market. I don't know where the fuck the bottom is. Do I think it is? No. I don't think 775 is the bottom. 775.5 is the bottom. If anything, I set a buy limit at 775, not 775.5. Boy, would I love to see momentum lower right here. Just a nice fat candle downward. Ugh. Be so beautiful. Unlikely, but beautiful. Give me a really fat candle just down to here. That would be so reassuring. That would be super reassuring. Be super reassuring. Come on. Give me that fat candle, please. This is where I overtrade and get tricky. Because, hey, why not? Got a lot of little shit going on here. Basically, I'm just short. I'm just putzing around and over trading, which I need to learn how to stop doing. I just have not learned how to do it yet. Again, I'm an okay trader with a lot of bad habits. This over trading bullshit in here is one of them. In fact, fuck this. This is bad. That's bad habits. Just get rid of it. Just get rid of it. Now, if we hit right down here and that turns out to be a bottom, I'm going to feel very upset about it. But it was a bad habit trade. Don't do bad habits. Just let it play out the way you originally wanted it to. Remember, Trust your gut when you enter the trade. Don't trust your gut once you're in the trade. One day, I strongly believe, if AI doesn't figure out the stock market, which it may very well, but one day I strongly feel that these little like nuggets of wisdom that I'm sharing on this stream will be found by a future generation and be like, oh, yeah, hey, that was a good one. That was a good piece of advice. One of them being trust your gut, your outs, your exits, whatever your gut tells you before you enter a trade when there's no money on the line. Do not trust your gut. Once you are in a trade and you have money on the line, it will lie to you once you are risking real money. But your gut will be honest with you before you put money on the line. That's my take on gut. Shit. Okay. We hit that little bottom there, which would have gotten me out of one contract and not entered the other one. Kind of exactly what I didn't want to see. It was a bad habit trade, but still. We did hit it. I would have exited one. It was a bad habit trade. It was a bad habit trade. Get my button out. Again, this isn't for some streaming soundboard. This is for myself to tell myself it's okay. It's okay. I don't care. I may have missed a trade, but it was the plus EV move to get rid of that trade. I don't care. It's okay. Good, good. All right, good, 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 good. No, 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 no. Shit, we keep hitting this fucking boundary here. Damn it. I'm not a fan of this boundary. Go below it, go below it. Ah, fuck, okay. I bought it. Now I'm gonna sell it as soon as we drop below that. Bad habits, bad habits. We just keep hitting this little wall here. It's annoying me. It's making me scared. Again, don't trust your gut in a trade, but I have to fucking somehow overcome this bad habit of doing trades like that, like little saver trades. I don't know what the fuck you would call them, but that's exactly what they are. They're like a little saver trade. Just in case, on the off chance something weird happens, I'll exit one contract and then get right back into it. I'm doing the same thing down here, actually. Although this one I think is a little bit more permitted. But still, these little... Let me exit right here and then get right back in. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense in a way, because if we go all the way back up here, I'm going to lose a lot of money. I'm only going to lose $10 or $15 to re-enter it. You can justify it. You can justify it, but it's just bad habit. It's just bad habit. And I have to stop doing that, and I'm going to put it in my notes now as something that really has to be watched out for. Talk to Claude about it. Claude, tell me how to fix this, please. Maybe even ChatGPT. ChatGPT, tell me, how do I fix this? You guys have no idea how many like little notes like that I have saved inside of my phone. Now say we bounce here. I'm back to -3. Because I exited and then I re-entered when we dropped below. I'm back to -3. Say we bounce here. I'll have wasted the $10 or $15 on the re-entry, and I'll have a worse cost average for my... It's just negative EV. It's just negative EV making a play like that. I hope you guys understand what I'm saying. Might not be making it too clearly, but I don't know. I've got a bad habit of over-explaining things, so I'm going to trust that I've explained that sufficiently. All right. Do I want to move my losing outs here? We're about to hit lunchtime. Now, lunchtime is when I said it's 12:55. I said lunchtime, 12 to 1. I even said maybe 12:20 is when we might get a real move downward. For whatever reason, that's what my gut says. Logic, on the other hand, would say we're approaching lunchtime. We're probably going to start channeling, because that's what happens during lunch. If we were going to channel, what would the channel be? The channel would be, looks like 776 to 776.5, maybe 777.5 to 776.5. That would make sense as some channeling action. So my losing out up here is right above 776.5, which I think is a good exit right now. I do. I mean, this is a momentum play, right? I'm looking for momentum lower. I'm hoping it happens during lunch. A big bounce here tells me that that thesis is incorrect. So I don't need to set wide stops here. If we bounce hard, that's a problem to my momentum theory. There's always the off chance that there's like a quick liquidity sweep higher. Those, I could most certainly see that. Just a one candle fast move up here, sweeps out my outs, starts going back down. Although liquidity sweeps are a bit more common on slow days, and today isn't a particularly slow day. It's not an all hands on deck rocking and rolling day, but it's not a slow day either. So yeah, I'm going to stick with the original. Again, the gut feeling I had before the money was in the pot that if we're going to have a sharp down move, it'll probably begin during lunch hours. We're at 12:58 a.m. right now. So what I'm setting up here is I'm short 3 contracts right now. I'm going to buy one back at 775 because that might be a bottom. It might be. I mean, 775, 774. My real target is 773, but I can't rule out 775 or 774 as a bottom. So I'm going to sell one at 775, re-enter if we drop below 775. That's what these two orders are. Exit at 775, re-enter if we drop below 775. Either way, I'll be keeping a core contract, core 2 short contracts. This is just my 3rd contract. These are just 1 contract orders. So the core of -2 contracts will remain. I'm just sort of putzing around with the 3rd one, trying to limit my risk, I guess, in case 775 ends up being a bottom. I don't have, I don't have much issue with that. That's just risk mitigation, honestly. Is my real exit 773? Yeah, but I've got the 2 contract core that's holding for that. Taking a little risk off the table at 775 just in case it's a bottom does not seem at all unreasonable to me. I don't know why these two are so different here. They shouldn't be. In fact, they probably shouldn't be different at all. tell you the truth. Let's just set them right in the middle of each other. So that's my exit, a little bit above 776.5. Where do we get down to here? 775.5. Again, if we're going to be entering a channel for lunchtime, which would make sense, that's what we often do during lunch. It would not surprise me if 775 to 776.5 is the channel. 775.5 to 776.5 is the channel. But like I said, my gut tells me I don't think that's going to be. I think we're going to move lower during lunch. I do. I hope. Quickly losing my profits for today. Come on. Don't start channeling, please. I mean, should I expect any different? Should I expect any different? It's not 12:20 yet. definitely getting towards the witching hour of deciding whether this is going to be a lunchtime channel or a lunchtime breakdown. And lunchtime breakdowns are rare, but for some reason, I think it's a distinct possibility today. And we sort of need it because if it turns into a lunchtime channel, I think the idea of there being momentum driven movement through the afternoon goes down really significantly. We may see some movement, we may see a lot of chop, we may see a completely channel bound afternoon. We've seen that a number of times. We all know how that is. Where from 1 until 3:30, we're just in a 50-cent range the entire time. All of those bad, non-trader friendly outcomes go way up if this entire lunch hour, 12 to 1, is channel bound. It just would indicate that the afternoon is going to follow, like I said, a unfriendly trader pattern, non-trader friendly pattern, whatever the hell you want to call it. It wouldn't look good for traders if this lunch hour is just channel bound. It'll just imply that we don't have momentum here. And what you're going to see in the afternoon is probably peg. We're going to have switched to a peg bound trading. And like I said, with peg bound trading, maybe at the end of the day, you get an opportunity if we stray too far from the peg. Although the peg now seems to have moved from 778 down to 776, which could mean it's either 776, 777, or 778. Again, not enough information. We'll probably be able to tell by 2 o'clock where the peg is. But again, no matter what, even if you nail where the peg is, these are not high profitability scenarios. Nowhere near as profitable as if we were to have a lunchtime breakdown. So that's where we're at right now. Really hoping for a lunchtime breakdown. And not just channel bound bullshit as usual. But it is what it is. I'd say the odds are 70%. We just have our regular channel bound lunchtime bullshit, which leads into an afternoon that's not going to be particularly profitable. 30% chance we have a lunchtime breakdown, which leads into an afternoon with momentum and direction to it. I think those are just realistically the odds of it. But the risk reward ratio is on our side because if things start breaking down, there's going to be a lot of points to pick up. So haven't hit 1220 yet. 1220 was sort of my marking point. It's 1212. 8 minutes. 8 minutes until maybe we get the breakdown I'm looking for here. This is day trading, by the way. Not all that fun. Not terribly thrilling. There are moments, but they're few and far between. Damn it. 1220. All right. Got to start being realistic here. Have to start being realistic here. -3 contracts. Now, I also find that whenever I get into like this mood where I'm like, have to be realistic, I should shorten, I should lighten up, that is immediately when the bottom falls out. Like without fail. You know, I'm starting to rethink it. I should lighten up. This is starting not to develop the way I wanted it to. The momentum is leaving, and I am going to lighten up one contract. And so I just lightened up one contract. Now, within the next 45 seconds is when we are going to drop like a stone, like without fail. Now, there is sort of a mini trend forming here, a mini little lower lows, which I like. You can see the lower lows here. Does that mean anything? No, not really. But maybe it means we're moving lower. Maybe it means there's more bullish vibes out there than bearish. But yes, I did lighten up one contract because I'm looking for momentum. I mean, it's a little early for me to drop it. Maybe it's only 12:23. I could wait till maybe 12:30, but I'd rather not see us jump all the way up to here. On the other hand, if you look at the other side, we've got higher lows. So, you know, mixed messages here. In fact, maybe we should draw a little little flag. All right, so if we get a flag, if we get it would end at about 12:45, and then we might see where we're going to break. But again, if that's what happens, we will have been channeling throughout lunch hour, which is not what I wanted to see. Honestly, the truth of the matter is that on momentum days, strong momentum days, which are rare, lunchtime doesn't stop the momentum. Lunchtime is often low volatility, channel trading, but on strong momentum days where you have a strong market bias one way or another, lunchtime is not an impediment to the momentum. And 12:25 now, we're starting to see a slowdown. Lunchtime is impeding the momentum, which leaves a bad taste in my mouth. So the momentum thesis of us heading lower on some strength is sort of quickly fading, unfortunately. And our peg could be 776, but it could be 778. Could be in the middle at 777, which puts my losing exits square in the sights of. I mean, if we've lost momentum, if we're going to start pegging, my losing exits are just in the crosshairs of where we're going to head. So in other words, if the momentum trade is dead, we're almost certainly going to hit my losing exits before we hit any winning exits. almost certainly. I'm not ready to give up on it yet, but I'm quickly losing faith. Look, any thesis you have, especially for me as a day trader, has a time limit on it. Swing traders, your time horizons are different, but even then, your your plays should have a time horizon where you have to say, hey, you know what? I had a thesis. It's not going my way. When do I sort of say, hey, just based on time alone, it didn't hit my outs exactly, but I can tell that the action has stalled and my thesis is running dry. And I'm at that point right now. I mean, I'm not like fully there yet, but maybe I should be, honestly. I'm quickly approaching the idea that this thesis is just not going to work out. Yeah, it looks like we're heading right towards my exits. Not a surprise. Whatever. I did lighten up a little bit here. I guess that's a good thing. Yeah. So, when and if we hit this, and maybe even if we don't hit it, I think I'm going to have to start letting go of the thesis of. Look, I had two theses today. One, that this run up was an indication, this run up in the morning was an indication that we were going to have a nice bull run today. Again, might have been wishful thinking. Sure seems like it now. But it gave a good sign that it might have been. Then when we started moving lower, I had a thesis that, maybe this was sort of a capitulation top before a real down move. That one definitely might have been a bit more wishful thinking because this might have just been a pullback from this up move. But I don't think it was that outlandish to think maybe after this big up move, we get a nice reversal, especially considering last week we were up 40 points. So I'm not going to beat myself up over that thesis too much. Just didn't work out. A lot of these are long shots. As long as I can control my risk until one of them hits, that's not so bad. And I controlled my risk pretty well today. If I lose this trade, I'm probably only going to be down $30. That's not bad. That's not bad for taking a flyer at, a $300-400 day. I did feel fairly good about this one. I mean, I gave myself like a 30% chance, which is pretty good. I really thought I had a good chance here. But yeah, it's really looking less and less likely here. Give myself another tick on each of these. And then if these get hit, it's just peg time. It's just peg time. We're in Peg City. Sucks. Sucks. Yeah, this trade's about to be a loser. Almost no doubt about it anymore. Just wasn't going to go. Just wasn't going to go. I will say, maybe this stops at 750. In fact, I want to give myself just a little bit more room here. In case it does stop at 750 and then wants to go back down to stop right there. Stop right there. Okay, maybe that's a top right there. Okay, maybe it's not. But if it is a top and we are channeling for lunchtime, I could see us, like I said, 775.5 to 776.5. We just hit 776.5. Maybe we go down to 775.5, which would be right, I think, where I'm setting my out. Yeah. Yeah, if anything, I'm setting it generously there. In fact, I don't think I need to set it quite that general. Whatever. Set it generously. Yeah. So if we are channeling, we might go back down to 775.5. I've got a very clear close exit here. You know, super close. We go above this peak at all, I am out. In fact, can I get even closer? Fuck it, I don't want to get closer. That's fine where it is. If we go above this, it's just done. We're just in peg city, and it's time to wait, figure out where the peg is. Like I said, my intuition at this point, where we look at the charts, let's look at our SPY chart. Where's the peg going to be? We've got most of the volume occurring at 776. So, yeah, that's an obvious possible target as our peg, our liquidity node, our center of gravity, whatever the hell you want to call it. Great. I'm out of my positions. All right, that's that. 777 is it's been a little bit of a resistance level. VWAP is sort of hanging out around there a little bit. 778, little resistance earlier today in the morning. Possible peg 776, according to indicators, is more likely. Yeah, 776, according to indicators, is more likely. How high would we want to go? If 776 is the center, is the peg, which we don't know yet. Again, come 1, 2 o'clock, we'll have a lot more information about what the actual peg is. I'm flat, by the way. If 776 is the peg, how far would we want to go? 777. That's the 1 point spread rule, basically. 777 would be right at the bottom of these suckers. So let's put a sell limit order in right here. That would be selling at 777, right? Usually when you have a peg, you bounce between 1 point below it and 1 point above it. So if 776 is our peg, 777 would. Now notice how I'm changing my read on the day. My thesis in the morning was We've got momentum moving higher. My thesis mid morning was we might have momentum moving lower. Maybe we peaked out and now we've got some real momentum moving lower. But neither of those really fizzled out. And I mean, they both fizzled out. Neither of them came to much of anything. So now we're going to fall back on good old faithful, which is the market wants to peg us to a certain number, as it always does. The number that pays off the least amount of options and where the liquidity is and where the institutions want us to end the day. Right now, it looks like 776. So, but again, could be 777, could be 778. I don't know. I'll have a better idea in a couple hours. But I'm going to play it as if 776 is the peg right now. We're never going to reach 777 though, huh? Boy, what a bummer. Looked like we had real directional movement today, real momentum, and it's just turned into shit. It's just turned into shit. All right, I'm going to play it as it got 2 contracts short. I'm going to play it as if we're channeling 780, 7800.5. I'm going to play it as if we're channeling it's time to start our channel game. Plus, I kind of like being bearish here. Seems like there's a bearish lean right now. Nothing about this up move here convinces me that this is some sort of real bullish move. Not at all. No. These are the trades that get me in trouble. These lunchtime morning trades before I've really nailed down where the center is. And I think it's 776, but I'm not sure about that. It looks like 776. This could be one of those situations where I wait 2 hours until it finally gets down here for all of $70. But these are peg plays. They're shitty, low profit, take a lot of time. God, I miss my hair. I miss my hair. That's why I'm losing today. Power. My power's gone. Like Bugonia, that movie. Can't communicate with the mothership without my hair. Shit. Anyway, like I said, this is the type of trade that could take, I mean, unless I lose, which won't take long at all, but this is the kind of trade that could take 2 hours to get 1 point lower. Or I could just exit it here, wrap it up, say, hey, you know what? I don't know what's going on right now. You know, this is where I lose money. It really is. Trades like this, where I know we're sort of pegging, I know we want to end the day at a certain number, but I'm not certain what that number is yet. And I attempt to guess at what that number is, and I throw money away trying to do that instead of just waiting until 2 o'clock, waiting until 3 o'clock. This is where streaming hurts me because I want to show an active trade, but the truth is, the active trade really becomes visible later in the afternoon when the peg is really well established. I think it's 776 right now, but I don't know that. And without knowing that, this trade is ugly. This trade is ugly. This trade is $10 to hold on to it, so I guess I have to, but I should have waited for the 777 short. I mean, if the fucking A. If the peg is 776, just wait for 777. Just waited for 777. Now I'm gonna what? Get out right before 777 and then reshort it at 777. Like I said, this trade could take hours if it's successful. Oh, fuck. And I don't want to sit here for hours waiting for $70. I wouldn't mind if I didn't have a bunch of other shit to do. There's no way this trade plays out right. There is no way this trade plays out right. Fuck. Yep. 777. That was where we were supposed to short it. Not there. I'll make this back. I will. I'll make this back. It'll just be later in the day. Once I have the peg firmly established and we vary from it, and then I fade that move and we go back to the peg, and I'll break even for the day. That will be the most likely scenario for this. And it will take the entire rest of the day. It will take 3 hours to make this $100 back. That's what's going to happen. That's day trading. But that's surviving on a day where you thought you were going to have some motion. Look like for a good couple hours we were going to have some real directional motion. Look like a day where it could have been a big profitable day, and it just degraded into a nothing choppy sort of day, which happens quite a bit. And that is where we are at now. That is exactly where we are at now. And it sucks. And it sucks. Yep. Like I said, I'm fairly confident I will make this back one way or another. Just not gonna fucking catch it on the stream, which sucks. This Peggy bullshit, you know, it's not hard to make money on if you're patient enough to sit through it the entire morning and make just one good trade at the end of the day, which is hopefully what I will do once I step away. I really want some shitty Dunkin' Donuts right now. Some snack and bacon. Oh yeah, snack and bacon and hash browns. Sign me up. All right, you want to rope me in one more time for this? Yep, you did. You did want to rope me in one more time for it. Okay, you fucking bastards. Just go. Hit the 7-7 mark. And then let me collect my fucking pullback. There is the off chance, and we're talking really off chance, that this turns into a collapse today. I wouldn't rule that out. Very slim chance, but more than your average day because of this big up move, and then you got this nice healthy down move. Now you're just seeing, I mean, this is lunchtime chop, as to be expected. I seriously doubt we start making a big move higher. Not here on a Thursday. I wouldn't see much reason for it. Maybe if it was Friday, I could see a big move higher just to screw over options players, but I don't know. I mean, is there any reason to think? Let's look at our put call ratio here. Yeah. Put call ratio is particularly bullish. Well, no, that's even more reason to be bearish here, actually. Yeah, the put call ratio is particularly bullish. Not extremely bullish, but bullish enough. bullish enough. Yeah, that actually adds more ammo to the downside, to tell you the truth. So yeah, I could see a sell off. Very unlikely, but I could see a nasty sell off this afternoon. It's about to be 1 o'clock. You know, I consider 1 o'clock a very important time. Often that signals movement one way or another. Although I will say lately it's been not a particularly reliable indicator. All right. We're going to hit 1 o'clock. I'm going to do my chores. Look, I've given you guys my read on the whole thing. I think this has turned into a peg day. It started with some promise. I thought we might have some directional movement, little momentum one way or another. Instead, we went straight up, straight down. Maybe if you caught one of these moves, sold it at the top, exited at the bottom here or something, more power to you. But for the rest of us humans, this was not a great directional day. It was a high volatility day with a lack of direction. Now it's turned into your pretty typical chop around peg day. I think the peg is 776, but I can't rule out 777 or 778 either as pegs. But 776 looks like the most likely. That's where the most action's been. So I think 776 is probably our close, and you'll want to play big moves away from 776, especially later in the day. You get big, healthy moves away from 776, and that's where it's going to be out. All right, I just picked up my second contract because we hit 777. Usually, when you have a peg like 776, you tend to diverge from it by 1 point. 777 would be that 1 point divergence before you pull back towards it. So I would like to see that pullback towards 776 now. If we're going back towards 776, I can count on at least maybe a little bit of a movement below it. Not much, but a little bit. So let's say we can count on a little bit of a move below down to here. Yeah. I don't see us make a huge up move today. I don't. Is it, again, stock market, anything's possible. I don't see it. Could we go to 778? Yeah, definitely could go to 778, but I would think that that is a top. In fact, I would definitely short it at 778. Disclaimer, don't follow my trades. I'm not a profitable trader. We could go to 778. If we go to 778, I am shorting it. For sure. In fact, I should just put that order in right now. If it'll let me. Top of this bullshit. I may even take that for 3 contracts. In fact, I will take that for 3 contracts. If we go all the way up to 778, I will not believe that move. All right, that's my playbook here. I'm short right now, trying to get back to 776. If we keep heading higher above 777, I am going to short it at 778. I am looking for a pullback towards the peg of 776. I don't see us making some big run higher today. I really don't. I just don't see it. And that's where I stand. That's where I stand. Anyway, if this trade is going to be successful, again, it could take hours. I got better things to do. Maybe I'll stop back on later. Also, yeah, I've been busy all week with remodeling my bathroom. Yeah. Oh, shit. I have things to do today also. Oh, fuck. All right. Anyway, yeah, I have things to do. All right. Good luck, guys.